Welcome back. Today I'm taking a look at the Nitecore P23i. Let's check it out. So this is everything the Nitecore P23i comes with. I'll give you a look at the box here. It also comes with a user manual, a USB Type A to Type C charging cable. Here's your lanyard. In this bag, there's a spare O-ring. It comes with a nylon holster here with Velcro right there to connect to a belt. And then this nylon strap here is held together with more Velcro. There's a plastic D-ring right here. You guys know how I feel about nylon holsters like this. I'm not a big fan. Let's move on. And then of course, I'll give you a nice close-up of the Nitecore P23i here. And while you guys are checking this out, let's go over some of the features. So the Nitecore P23i is a long-range tactical flashlight that has a maximum output of 3,000 lumens, a maximum throwing distance of 470 meters, and an intensity of 55,300 candela. And kicking out those 3,000 lumens is a single Luminus SFT-70 LED. It has 5 lighting modes plus strobe, and it has 2 user modes, a daily mode and a tactical mode. It's powered by a Nitecore 21700i 5,000 milliamp hour lithium ion battery, and it's charged with a USB Type-C charging port on the outside of the flashlight. The body's made of an aluminum alloy and has a Type 3 hard anodized finish. It has an impact resistance of 2 meters, and it has an IP rating of 68. The 6 means it's completely dustproof, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water. All right, let's talk dimensions. It has a length of 5.65 inches and a head diameter of 1.25 inches. And according to my weight test, it comes in at 6.9 ounces. That's 195.61 grams. And yes, I did weigh it with the battery in it. Now the P23i here is considered a long-range tactical thrower. Now I do like my tactical flashlights with some throwing distance. This has 470 meters of throw. But at the same time, it also has to have a lot of flood in that beam. Especially if you're using this flashlight indoors, down a hallway, you're gonna wanna have a lot of flood to be able to light up a whole room and not just throwing distance. So we're gonna be testing out this beam a little bit later on in this video once we go outside. Now I'm gonna give you a look right down the barrel there at that single Luminus SFT-70 LED. That's going to have a cool white color temperature. And you can see that LED doesn't sit back too far within that reflector. And that reflector is a nice smooth reflector, as you can see. And while we're here at the head, you can get a look at this awesome striking bezel. And then right on the bezel, you can see 3 silicon nitride ceramics. I absolutely love this bezel. And also the Nitecore P20iX right here, you can see they're very, very similar bezels. Now, when I was going over what came in the box, I forgot to mention that yes, it does come with a split ring removable pocket clip right here. There's actually a few spots that you can fit this pocket clip onto on this body. So you can have this pocket clip on either one of these spots right here, either lens up or flip it for lens down. And regarding the body here, I'm not gonna spend too much time here. It's typical Nitecore quality. It feels great in the hands. Actually, this is a very nice size for a tactical flashlight. Comparing it here to the Nitecore P20iX, you can see, actually, let me turn it around because the tails are a little different here. You can see the P23i is just slightly longer, and I'm not even sure. Actually, it's not even slightly longer. What's making it look longer are these little tabs right here on the tail of the P23i, which I like those tabs because now you can tail stand this, which on the P20iX, couldn't tail stand it. You guys know I love to tail stand my lights. I don't think I have to keep saying that in every single video, but here we are. I'll give you a look at the USB Type-C charging port right here under this rubber flap. Right there. And then right next to that USB Type-C charging port, there's the LED. It's a battery life indicator that is a boot up battery life indicator. Very nice. Now, even though that LED will light up when you boot up the flashlight, it stays on for the whole duration that the light is on. Now, I'm not really sure if that's a good or bad thing. For me personally, I would like to have that light go off after about 4 or 5 seconds. I don't think I need to have the battery life indicator constantly on. Now let's go back to the tail cap here. I already mentioned the tabs right here where you can tail stand the flashlight, and then you can see the little lanyard attachments on each side. And now I can give you a look at those dual tail switches, the on and off button right there, and then the mode button right there, which is a pedal button that is flush to this tail cap here. It's almost sitting inside of that tail cap. I keep pressing the button. That's the strobe ready function. While the flashlight is off, all you have to do is just hit that mode button and activate strobe. But we'll go over that when I talk about the UI a little bit later on. Now, I love dual tail switches, but I'm not really too sure how I feel about this flush, almost recessed mode button right here. And I'll tell you why when I go over the UI, but it has a lot to do with the turbo function and how you activate turbo in the P23i here. All right, so moving along, let's talk about the lumens and runtime information. You can see it has 5 lighting modes plus strobe. You can cycle through 4 of the modes: ultra low, low, mid, and high. Ultra low is 50 lumens, has the maximum runtime on ultra low of 45 hours. Low is 250 lumens, mid is 800 lumens, and high is 1500 lumens. Now, even though Nitecore is advertising this as a 3000 lumen flashlight, this is basically a 1500 lumen flashlight that has a 3000 lumen burst. And speaking of that turbo, 3000 maximum lumens, 470 meters of throw, and 55,300 candela. Now you can see that asterisk right there with that 30-minute runtime. The asterisk means the runtime of turbo is tested without the temperature regulation. And then strobe, 3000 lumens, maximum lumens. I think that's fantastic. And other than that, I think the mode spacing here is great. The 50 to 250 to 800 to 1500. I don't think you can get any better than that. All right, now it's UI time. Let's talk about this user interface. So momentary on, just give it a half press. There's your silent momentary operation. Then obviously for constant on, just full press, click the button in. Now you get yourself a nice look of what that beam looks like right here on my desk. And then to cycle through the modes, just hit that pedal switch. You're gonna hit ultra low, low, mid, and high. So those are your 4 cyclable lighting modes. While the flashlight's off, just press and hold that pedal switch, and there's your instant access to strobe. And while the flashlight is on, you have to triple click to hit that strobe. So off, press and hold the mode, and while it's on, triple click. Now there's no way to access turbo from off. To access turbo, the flashlight has to be on, and you have to press and hold that mode switch. So you're gonna get 30 minutes of turbo, 3000 lumens, but you gotta sit here and hold down this mode button. And this is why I was saying earlier why I'm not really too sure if I like this flush, almost recessed pedal switch anymore. Because holding down that mode button for any extended amount of time, it starts to wear on your thumb a little bit, especially if they're claiming 30 minutes. Not like anyone's gonna hold this button down for 30 minutes straight, but even a few minutes, it starts to strain my thumb a little bit. So Nitecore did this to prevent accidental activations, which is great, but there's a trade-off of constantly having to hold this down and straining out your thumb. There is a mode memory, so if I put it on high right there, turn it off, turn it right back on, it goes to high, ultra low. You can see it goes right back to ultra low. And there is no button press lockout to lock out this flashlight. Just give that tail cap about a half twist, all set. Now let's talk about the 2 user modes, daily and tactical. It ships in daily mode, so it starts at ultra low and works its way up. Tactical is going to start at high and then go all the way backwards. And what you have to do to switch user modes is you have to press and hold that mode button down and twist the tail cap at the same time. Okay, so let's do this. Press and hold, twist, there we go. So you just saw those flashes. Tighten up that tail cap, and now we're in tactical mode. And while you're in tactical mode, the lighting levels change a little bit. So it goes from turbo to mid to low to ultra low, so it skips high. So this is a way around having to hold that mode button down as you saw in daily mode. So it starts right there on turbo, mid, low, and then ultra low. So obviously you have a choice to make, either keep it in tactical or keep it in daily mode. If you want instant access to that 3000 lumens at all times, because no matter where you leave it off at, as soon as you turn it back on, it goes right back to that 3000 lumens. And then you don't have to sit here and hold down that mode button like you have to do in daily mode. But the only trade-off is now there's no high at 1500 lumens. So there's a trade-off here for sure. And to get it back to daily mode, you have to do the same thing. Hold it down, give it a twist, the flashlight flashes, and now we're back in daily mode. This is not my favorite way to switch user modes. There just has to be a better way to switch from daily to tactical modes. Plus, I'm not really even sure if a tactical flashlight needs dual user modes. As a tactical flashlight, you really don't need that daily mode. Just give me the tactical mode where it starts at turbo, give me a high, then go to mid, low, and then ultra low. And yes, keep that instant access to strobe right there on the pedal switch. That's perfect. So I really wish Nitecore would drop the dual user modes. I just don't think it's needed in a tactical flashlight. Now right here I'm running a heat test. So I let it run for about 2 minutes. After 1 minute at the body it was about 112 degrees Fahrenheit, and at the head it was already at 144 degrees Fahrenheit. And after the 2 minute mark, it went up slightly at the body to 114 degrees Fahrenheit, and only up about 2 more degrees to 146 degrees Fahrenheit. At the head was absolutely too hot to touch with my bare hands. So if you're running this flashlight up to 2 minutes on turbo, just make sure you have some gloves handy. 114 at the body was hot, but I could still manage to handle that with my bare hands. But touching that head at 146 degrees Fahrenheit, wear some gloves. All right, let's start on ultra low here. Now those trees on that far line, they're about 114 meters away. That structure right there, if that truck, just kind of messed up my beam shot there, but that structure right there is 109 meters away. So that's ultra low. That's only 50 lumens too. You can see that tree. Let's go to low. Okay, and that's what I wanted to see here, was that beam perimeter, because it's cool having 470 meters, but I also want to have some flood in that beam too, so I can light up interiors. And there's mid. Very nice. You can see that cool white beam. Get a little closer, you can see what I'm seeing here. And there's high, there's 1500 lumens. And most of the time you're gonna be on 1500 lumen high anyways, just to save battery life. See, I'm hitting those trees back there with no problem. Now let's go to turbo. There's 3000 lumens. And I'm actually very happy with the flood here. Very happy. Very nice hot spot right there, as you can see, but this is a pretty floody beam. It's definitely what I want to see in my tactical lights. So I'm starting to feel that turbo, that heat kick in. I'm not wearing gloves, as you can see, but let's move on to the next location. I'm going to move on to the other side of the house here. All right, let's start with ultra low again. I'm just gonna go right to low here. At ultra low, 50 lumens. Check that out. Give you a nice sweep across. Mid. Very cool. And then right to high. Wow. And I'll put up the beam distance between me and those back trees a lot closer. Obviously that's the same structure you saw from closer to the road. And let's go to turbo. Now you can see that 1500 to 3000. Oh, that's strobe. That 1500 to 3000 doesn't look too much brighter. I mean, obviously it's doubling the brightness, but just here, it's just not looking like it's doubling. But what do you guys think of this beam profile here? I think it's pretty decent. I'm loving the hotspot here. I do like the perimeter on this beam profile. It's a cool white beam, which, you know, I always say I like neutral white beams, but not in my tactical flashlights. I like cool white in my tactical lights and neutral to warm white in my EDC flashlights. But very nice beam profile here in this flashlight here in the P23i. What do you guys think? All right, let's talk about what I like about the P23i here. First off, it's plenty bright with those 3000 lumens, plenty of throw with 470 meters. On your average day, you're really not going to need much more than that anyways. I think the mode spacing here is great. The beam profile is pretty nice. I like the hotspot. I like the flood. I like the striking bezel here with these 3 silicon nitride ceramics. The overall size is great to hold in your hand, and it's a pretty decent size for rail mounting. I like that it has dual tail switches here. I like that it's IP68, dust and waterproof. And I like the fact that it has an instant strobe, which it should if it's a tactical flashlight. Now let's talk about some of the things that I don't necessarily like about the P23i. The first thing, I'm not really sure if I like the flat recessed pedal switch anymore. After using it for a while with my other Nitecore flashlights, it's kind of a pain in the butt, especially in daily mode if you have to keep holding it down for turbo. Now, of course, they fixed that by giving you a tactical mode, but that leads me to my second negative is I'm not really sure if this needs dual modes. For a tactical flashlight, don't try to make it an EDC/tactical. Just give me one or the other. For this is a tactical flashlight. Just give me tactical mode, throw away daily mode. So if the only user mode that we have left is tactical mode, I also want a high in there. So it should go turbo, high, mid, low, ultra low. And getting rid of the dual modes would get rid of my next negative is how you switch those modes. Holding down that mode button and having to twist the tail cap at the same time is fumbly AF. If you get rid of the dual modes, it gets rid of the fumbly way to switch those modes, and then no problem at all. But if you can get past those negatives, I think the P23i from Nitecore is a solid long-range tactical flashlight. Plus, you get 3000 lumens and 470 meters of throw for under $100. So I think that is a win within itself. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the Nitecore P23i? If you want to check this out for yourself, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe. And go!